23 days ago was Star Wars Day, and as I reminisce the great moments Star Wars gave us, it gave me the motivation and the genius idea of celebrating Star Wars by watching all the live-action TV shows. Someone put me in Arkham Asylum because I truly am the craziest person in the world. Hey everyone, this is Hikimura, and today join me as I go on a Star Wars craze by watching all live-action Star Wars TV shows and just, talk about them. I've been planning to do an analysis on Star Wars ever since the amount of controversy it was getting for the past 5 years. It's just been pretty hectic for me as a first-year college film student. All the finals, especially now. But with vacation just around the corner, it gave me the time to really sit down and actually really do this, Now, you may be thinking to yourself,
you're crazy.
But
I'm not. No, I'm not.
I am well aware of how weird this is, that I'm celebrating Star Wars by watching these TV shows that have been scrutinized or forgotten by a lot of critics, fans, and audiences. But I believe that celebrating something doesn't just mean enjoying the good stuff. It also means accepting the bad stuff and understanding why that happened and finding out ways how that shouldn't happen again. Let's be like Luke, who, despite everything, loved his father Darth Vader unconditionally and held on to hope his father would return to the light. This is also just a great opportunity for me to really catch up, since I have not watched any Star Wars related content since season 2 of The Mandalorian, which was like 4 years ago? Man, time flies. Since we all know how crazy each show will get in terms of execution, because they might just get worse over time, please pray for my sanity by hitting that subscribe button. It is a big help for this channel and for me. Give this video a like if you like it, share it with your friends and your family, and comment down below, what did you guys think of the Book of Boba Fett? Were you able to enjoy it? Do you guys think it's the worst thing that Star Wars has ever done? Or do you just don't really care? So without further ado, let's start. So since it has been 4 years since we've seen the Book of Boba Fett, let me give you a synopsis. So the Book of Boba Fett obviously follows Boba Fett, one of the most iconic bounty hunters in the Star Wars franchise, who was revealed to have survived and escaped the Sarlacc pit. Basically, the show follows him as the new daimyo of Tatooine, kind of like the big crime boss after killing its original placeholder, Bib Fortuna, Jabba the Hutt's major domo, something like an assistant. Because of this new position, he, along with Fennec, will be diving deeper into the criminal underworld as they try to rule with respect and kill some competition or enemies along the way. From that synopsis, it had so much potential. A show that was gritty and violent, it felt fresh for Star Wars, and it was going to explore more of the criminal underworld, which is cool because Star Wars is a vast universe, and there is a lot to explore of Star Wars other than the Jedi, the Empire, and all the other factions that have appeared throughout the years. I also liked the direction they wanted to take Boba Fett in, as a sort of reformed bounty hunter who wants to rule with respect and is a bit more compassionate towards other people. But a story can't go so far without good execution, and unfortunately, the execution of the Book of Boba Fett is just so dreadful. I couldn't help but complain and laugh as my soul was drained.
Like a panther.
What plagued this show so much for me was a lack of focus and the poor decision making, which affected 3 elements of the show. First was the plot. Some plot lines either felt unnecessary or they were going somewhere. The build-up was so interesting, and then they pay it off in the most anticlimactic way, and it doesn't feel earned. The first 4 episodes had plot lines like Boba Fett's time with the Tusken Raiders after he escaped the Sarlacc pit, and the people Fett would be up against, like the Pike Syndicate, the Mayor of Mos Espa, Cad Bane, and Jabba the Hutt's cousins. But their significance to the show was just so it just wasn't enough. They didn't feel threatening, and their payoff was just very nothing. The Pike Syndicate didn't feel all that threatening or even interesting, even though that they're like the big bad of the show. The mayor and Jabba the Hutt's cousins were immediately shafted, like they were brought up and then they were just ended just so easily. I was like, come on, man, we could have had some interesting lines or interesting scenes with them. And Cad Bane, man, he was done so dirty in this show. It's so sad. And even lesser plot lines like the biker gang were just so hollow. It irritated me. It felt like the writers didn't really know where to go, and they didn't know how to elevate these plot lines. If the show had more episodes, and if the writing was better, we maybe could have had an interaction between Boba Fett and the biker gang, giving us maybe the backstory of the biker gang so that we can actually care about them. Or maybe some juicy character development for Boba Fett, because again, he's proving himself to be a more respectful person, and this could be an opportunity for that. We also could have had more scenes with Cad Bane to not only show respect to his character, but to also give him more to do than just be a cameo in this story. Maybe they could have made Cad Bane the assassin out to get Boba Fett in the first episode. So many things. The next element that was affected was the characters. Many of the characters in this show were either uninteresting or just completely unnecessary. As I mentioned before, Cad Bane was done dirty in the show, where he only appeared in the last 2 episodes and was killed off in the final episode. The fact that the writers didn't try to build him up as this other big bad in earlier episodes is really disrespectful to the character, because Cad Bane is very popular with a lot of fans, and he's also powerful. Like, Boba Fett was apprenticed under him, so he should deserve more respect. And speaking of Boba Fett, he also wasn't safe. He wasn't the stoic, silent, and powerful bounty hunter we remember him to be. Yes, he has changed, he's in his 40s, he's getting healed, but I don't buy it. We literally saw him in The Mandalorian defeating stormtroopers with ease, like it was just child's play. Oh, so good. I also didn't like that he was talking a lot. Like, Boba Fett is known to be a character with very few words. And so they should have been able to balance that out, like balance his personality. He can be compassionate, but he can also be cold and intimidating. Besides them, other characters like the biker gang and the mayor's annoying major domo, like, I don't get why this character is in this show. He is so annoying, are either unnecessary or they should have given them more to do that supports the plot. I won't criticize the actors on this one because I feel like the actors were having the time of their lives and they do love these characters. And I feel like they did as much as they could with this kind of awful script. That's why I don't want to criticize them. The last element that I feel like the writers, like the people who were doing this show, completely just like had no respect for was the action sequences. The action sequences of this show was complete, utter brain dead. Like, I apologize for my words right now, but it is dog. Like, the first action sequence that we ever see, like the first one in the first episode, is the assassination attempt. And like, this could have easily been finished if Boba Fett remembered that he had a jetpack. Because like, dude, you're surrounded, the only way out is up. How can you not remember that you have a jetpack? And your train of thought is like, oh, Fennec, let's just wait here. Let's break their spears and then, like, you know, find other ways. I'll hoist you up or something. And then my pig henchman will come in to save us. I'm like, dude, you're a bounty hunter. How can you not prove yourself that you can actually be good in the battlefield? How? The next one is the speedster chase, which is like horrendous. Like, how can this show be made by the same people who did The Mandalorian, and with $105 million as a budget, they couldn't even make their speedsters go any faster? I feel bad for the visual effects artists who had to deal with this. I can't. And then we get to the final action sequence, basically the climax of the show. And I couldn't help but feel like my soul was like just losing it as I watched the characters do idiotic things, like do unnecessary flips, and then like stay in one spot. Like, what are you doing, guys? Why are you staying in one spot to shoot your enemies? You were literally coming from both sides, from left to right, and then you guys just like, your train of thought is like, oh, let's just stay here. Guys, you could have divided yourselves. That would have given you more coverage, and that would have given you the win. What? How? What happened? And then eventually the Scorpionics come in, these big droids with big force fields, and their first course of action is to shoot. Why is that your first instinct? The first instinct I would do, and especially because like force fields are not like, your blasters aren't gonna work at force fields, so your best course of action is to like, how are you guys like being so dumb with these action sequences? You should be smart and resourceful in a battlefield, because if you aren't, you are dead. Just dead. This is the one that irritated me the most. It makes me laugh, but it also just makes me want to go to a grave, man. I couldn't with this. I couldn't. Okay, I got this. My God. So there are many other things that I can criticize this show for, like the editing. Like, there's this scene when Fennec is getting fixed up, and it was like watching a slideshow. Some of the costume design I can't, especially the biker gang. Like, why did these guys have to come out of Cyberpunk Edge Runners and had to have those bikes that just came out of the rainbow? Why? Like, why is that a thing? But one thing is clear: this show, even after 4 years, is a complete waste of everyone's time. I mean, like, if you're someone who enjoyed the show, I commend you, but I am not watching the show again because I just can't tolerate some of the stuff here. Probably the only two things that I found tolerable was a bit of the production design, which also includes the costume design. This is specifically going to the aliens, because I feel like the fact that the aliens look really practical, it adds a lot to the world. It makes the world feel alive, and I like that. I did feel kind of sad that the huts were mostly CG, and I just wish they looked, more like what Jabba looked like in episode 6. More practical. Would have been awesome. The other thing is the Mando-centered episodes. I really found those episodes better. Like, it was weird. Like, the writing was better. The characters were much better. Like, I don't know, like, for some unknown reason, when Mando and Grogu became the focus, the writers knew, like, okay, we know where to go. This is how we elevate the show. We're good. But it works as a double-edged sword for them, because again, as I said, the Mando-centered episodes are good, but the fact that the writers were like, oh, let's just shift focus from Boba Fett to the Mandalorian because people want the Mandalorian, it doesn't give any more respect to Boba Fett as a character, because it's like the writers are saying like, oh, Boba Fett cannot work without Mando. And it's sad because this is his show. Why are they treating it as if like, oh, there's a Mandalorian 2.5 in this? Like, I really feel bad. All in all, the 2-star review I gave this show on Letterboxd, it's just well deserved. I can commend some small aspects of the show, but the rest I can't. It's just so terrible. From my comments, or from this video in general, you might think that, oh, I'm just a Star Wars hater and I want Star Wars to fail because it sucks. But guys, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars. It is an essential part of my childhood, and now more than ever, it has become important to me because my dad was a huge Star Wars fan. When I think of Star Wars, I think of him. My comments aren't out of hate. They're out of love for this franchise, and as a film nerd, I'm really happy the franchise is getting a big resurgence right now, obviously because of May the 4th, but there's also the fact that Revenge of the Sith is being re-released for its 20th anniversary. Andor is really becoming successful, especially with season 2 right now. Announcement of new projects like Mandalorian and Grogu and the Star Wars Starfighter movie. And probably the most interesting one for me is the revival of Star Wars Battlefront 2. So Battlefront 2 hasn't really been alive for the past 5 years, ever since EA kind of shut down their servers. However, after May the 4th, people have started going back to this game, and now the player count is just increasing even more. So hopefully, we might get a Battlefront 3, or we get more updates for this game. Honestly, it just feels like it's a great month to be a Star Wars fan. Now that I have picked the Book of Boba Fett to shreds, the next show on my list is going to be the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. Please don't use the comment section to spoil the show for me. I don't know a lot about season 3 other than it wasn't that good. But I am hopeful that it is much more tolerable than the Book of Boba Fett. So expect that video in a few weeks or so. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Expect more activity from me during the next few months, especially with vacation. I'll see you all next time. This is Hikimura signing off.